Welcome back, fantasy friends and family. This is the Fantasy Actions Podcast. I am your host, the Frozen One, Victor Freeze, aka whatever the fuck you want to call me. We have right here my co-host for this season,
Mari Mars. So we back at it again, episode number 2. So we running it back all the way to the house.
Exactly, just like our picks. We
right.
hope you guys had good drafts. Had a couple drafts this weekend. So did Mariano. Feel pretty good about them. We'll touch on them in a different episode though. We're gonna go over it next week. This week, what we do have in store for you is Stardom, Sit-em week 1, and then we have Bust for the season. Players you should avoid, and hopefully you didn't draft. Or if you do have them on the team, get rid of them as soon as you can.
In a heartbeat, no doubt. So I'll kick it off. For my first Stardom, I got Phillip Rivers. And actually, let's backtrack a little bit. So I have a couple teams that really you want to keep an eye on the matchups, right? Because last year, if you guys watched the episode that I was in, I basically stated that anyone that plays Miami, you need to start, right? And Miami is one of those teams this year as well. So the defense didn't really get too much improved over the draft and free agency. I mean, they picked up the cornerback. They made a few additions, but the real big one that I want to hit on is Jacksonville. Jacksonville sold off their entire defense from when they went to the AFC Championship. There's not one single player that's still on the team, and that's why I'm going with Phillip Rivers as my first stardom. And that's really another thing I should touch on is that's really if you don't have a premier quarterback, right? Or if your starting quarterback has a rough matchup this week, like against San Francisco or something along those lines. You know?
So Phillip Rivers is a quarterback that's very underrated. He's available in a lot of late rounds, even waivers, a lot of waivers. But this man, he has a big arm and he throws for like 4,000 yards each season.
Yeah.
I think he's underrated. He puts up good fantasy numbers at least.
He throws a lot of picks.
He does do that.
Right. But he also throws for a lot of yards and also most of the time a lot of touchdowns as well.
And I think, that new life in Indianapolis, he's not new life, but, being on a new team is going to, bring something out of him.
Hopefully, man. We'll see.
He has to play for those 20 kids that he has.
Yep, for real. He has to, bro. He has no other choice at this point. Yeah. Who you got for your first one, Vic?
My first stardom is Will Fuller over there on the Texans with the departure of our boy DeAndre Hopkins. That leaves so many targets for Will Fuller. Will Fuller already ate when DeAndre Hopkins was there, and I think now it's his team. I'm not worried about Brandon Cooks, although Brandon Cooks will be a number 2, I believe, a good number 2 to have on your team. I rostered him a lot of drafts this season late in the rounds. And it's going to be a shootout too. It's going to against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's going to be a high-scoring game.
Great way to open off the season. I'm looking forward to Thursday. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. Really, just to piggyback on that, if you have any players currently with Houston Texans or the Kansas City Chiefs, start them all.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Simple as that, because I think they're just going to put up ridiculous numbers.
Who you got next?
For my next one, I got CeeDee Lamb. Okay. The Cowboys are matched up with the Rams this week, so we all know that Jalen Ramsey is a shutdown corner. He's going to be on either Michael Gallup or Amari Cooper. That's just what I'm thinking as far as a matchup, which could leave CD open all over the middle and all over the field. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. So this week, it's kind of tricky with these rookie receivers, but CeeDee Lamb, start him, man.
Yeah, especially, I don't think last season, every time Amari Cooper went up like a number 1 cornerback, like Marshawn Lattimore shut him down completely. Yeah. So it's he doesn't do good against like competition. He's like we know Amari Cooper anyways.
Exactly.
But for sure, sit Amari Cooper. Oh, not sit him. Start CeeDee Lamb. Sit his ass too though, motherfucker.
Yeah, sit him too. For real.
Going on to my next stardom, I have Chris Thompson over there in Jacksonville. We all know Leonard Fournette bounced out. He's over there in Tampa Bay. And we also expect the Jacksonville Jaguars to be like Mariano was touching on earlier, they're going to be ass, so they're going to be down in a lot of games. He's a pass catching back.
Right.
You know,
So you're gonna
check down Charlie.
Yeah, you're gonna get junk time points.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Even when the game's out of reach and they're just chucking the ball down, you're gonna collect points, especially in a PPR league.
Exactly. So that's the main reason I like Chris Thompson. Mostly flex though, not RB1, RB2.
Right.
I love him at a flex spot. Just want to clarify that for you guys.
Yeah, I agree with that. So for my number three starter, number third. For my number third, I got AJ Brown. So if you guys haven't heard, the news came out, I believe it was today, right? Earlier today.
Yes, sir.
That Von Miller has potentially a season-ending injury. Now, I know that they're getting back their other pass rusher, Bradley Chubb. But he's coming off of a knee injury as well. He just had a season-ending injury.
Yeah.
So I think that the Broncos defense is certainly licking their wounds at this point.
Yeah.
So AJ Brown, start him, and Derrick Henry, that's a no-brainer. You're gonna start him every week. So
run over your best defender every week.
yeah, rock with
Ask
AJ
Joe
Brown.
Thomas.
For real. Get pushed out the way, man. Pushed out the way.
For my next stardom, I'm going Big Ben over there in Pittsburgh. I almost forgot.
Yes, sir.
He's matched up against the Giants this week. I was literally trying to think who the Giants have on defense. They have Jabril Peppers and Leonard Williams. They literally have nobody on that defense.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about their defense. I think that's, if you were talking about defenses are going to be trash this season, I could put the Giants in there with the Dolphins and the Jaguars. Have no faith in their defense. Big Ben is in the best shape of his life coming off that surgery. This man has Juju, he has Chase Claypool, he has Deontay Johnson, he has an amazing running back, he has a tight end, he has a list of weapons, bro.
Yep.
So, look at Big Ben do Big Ben things, and he's gonna get back to it with the defense that he could freaking knife through, and he's gonna go off.
No doubt. Just to piggyback on the Giants defense as well, they just released their first round cornerback from 2018, which was DeAndre Baker. So
there you go.
He messed up, had something going on when he robbed some poker table
Over
or
a
something
card
like that over a card game.
Bro, you a millionaire.
Yeah, come on, man. You make millions of dollars in the NFL.
Crazy.
And you're going to piss it away like that. So, I mean, that's just to piggyback on it. Giants defense is going to be pretty soft this year.
Yeah.
Is what I'm thinking,
Top 3 softest defenses. You heard it here.
Top 3 softest defenses. So my next stardom for this week is going to kind of contradict what we went over in our first episode, Vic. I bashed Cam Newton a little bit.
You did.
I told him that he shot puts the football, which I still believe happens, right?
Yeah.
But I'm going to start him this week, right? It's tying right back into who they're playing. It's all about matchups for me. They're playing Miami this week, and Miami was horrendous on defense last year. So Cam Newton, start him.
Yeah, I love Cam Newton. I was big on him. He was one of my sleepers. Bill Belichick is going to use him properly, and Miami's trash. They have nobody on defense, so it's a no-brainer for me. You start that boy.
Absolutely.
My next stardom is Cam Akers. And that is simply because the Rams love using the running back. And the Rams, we saw what they did to Todd Gurley.
Yep.
They
got him in one of my leagues.
They ran him to the ground.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully he comes through for Mariano in his league. Todd Gurley.
I got Cam Akers too.
Oh, you got
boy.
both?
I got both.
We hope they both perform well.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, they design a lot of plays. They use their running back a lot on that offense. So I like the position that Cam Akers is in, and the matchup isn't too worrisome this week. So start Match Akers.
Match Akers.
Cam Akers for sure.
Cam Akers, no doubt. I'm going to co-sign on that one as well. So my last one for the stardom, it's going to be Ian Thomas. Now in the first episode, y'all must have been
I was sad when he said this because he's rooting against us.
Hey, I'm not rooting.
But he makes a point.
Here's the thing, right? So the Panthers play the Raiders. Some of you guys are probably like, man, who is Ian Thomas, right?
Yeah.
It's like, man, who is that? But if you don't have a solid number 1 tight end on your team, I would definitely consider picking up Ian Thomas for this week, and I'm going to tell you why. The Panthers play the Raiders this week. Over the past 2 years, the Raiders have been the worst defense against tight ends, right? Yeah. So I know that the Raiders this year, you guys know from the last episode, I'm a diehard Raider fan. But until they show us that they can actually stop these tight ends from scoring points, you have to keep starting them. You have to.
Yeah, right? I think it's a lot of defensive scheme too, and Paul Guenther has to figure out how to guard the tight end, and he's having a lot of trouble doing that, you know. So I'm capping off my stardom list with the New England defense. I'm not high on the New England defense this season. I meant to talk about it on the last video. I think I didn't touch bases on it. They lost a lot of pieces this season. They had a lot of players opting out this season. They were a force to be reckoned with last season. They fucking won you some games. They scored 20 points multiple weeks.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
You know, but they're still good enough to play against Miami this week. Miami still is trash. I think Bill Belichick still has that defensive scheme going. Obviously, he's going to continue with something that worked very well with him last season, even though they're missing a lot of pieces. I think New England figures it out this week against Miami. And if they don't, they have a tough season against oh my God. They have a tough season ahead of them. What the fuck?
They got a tough season ahead of them, no doubt. But and they have the hood, man. I mean, that's just... Yeah. He's one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Exactly. You know? So. But yeah, that caps off the stardom. We're moving on to Situm. So Mariano kicks it off once again.
Yeah, I'm going to kick it off. I'm going Devontae Parker, right? Mm-hmm. I know that Fitzmagic, for the first 4 weeks of the season, he usually works his magic, or for 4 game spurts of the season, right? And I got a feeling that that's what he's going to do, is play for the first 4 weeks, and then Tua's going to get the share of snaps at quarterback. Mm-hmm. But the real reason why that I'm sitting Devontae Parker is because the Patriots have Stephon Gilmore. And Stephon Gilmore is probably one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. He was on the top 100. So yeah, that's where I'm at. Let's sit Devontae Parker.
Yes, sir. Moving on to my first sit-em of the week, we have Le'Veon Bell. You know, Le'Veon Bell coming back after he held out for the season before. Had a horrible season. He was the lowest yards per carry. Didn't get that many touches on that offense. I think it's just Adam Gase doesn't know how to use him.
Yeah. Another thing, too, is that they have no one else on the offense. I mean, They just got rid of Robbie Anderson. Mm-hmm. They drafted Denzel Mims out of Baylor. Mm-hmm. But that's a lot to weigh on a rookie receiver, right? So, really, Le'Veon, all the defense has to do is focus on Le'Veon.
Yeah, exactly. And stack the box every fucking play.
Yeah, what else you can do,
exactly.
Right?
So, you know, I didn't draft Le'Veon. I love Le'Veon. He's a great running back. I was high on him last season. Last season, I picked him up in the first round in some leagues.
So, no shit.
Yeah. So I was hoping for him to do great, but
yeah, that was
I think
a real
the Jets
bust 2019
for real.
Man. Yeah.
And I think the Jets is just a bad offense, and you know Adam Gase needs to get it together over there. And also on top of that, they're facing a good defense, which is the Bills this week. So
yeah, you would think whatever Adam Gase is taking, nigga would be all over it, but he's not. Hey, you know he's on something. Yeah, dude. He's got to be on something. Has to.
But yeah, fortunately, sit Le'Veon Bell until he gets on a better team.
Right, for sure. For my second sit-em, I'm going Amari Cooper, right? Mm-hmm. So I touched on it earlier that they're playing the Rams. Cowboys playing the Rams this week. Jalen Ramsey, that defense, Aaron Donald. I don't want none of that this week, right? And Amari Cooper, I'm just not high on him anyway. He'll have very up and down seasons, even when he was with the Raiders.
Drops a lot of balls
as a Raider, but you haven't seen it yet as a Cowboy, but I'm telling you, it's coming, right? So, sit Amari Cooper, week 1.
Going to my next sit-em, I have the New Orleans defense, simply because we're going up against Tampa Bay Tom and all his new toys at his disposal. You know, the New Orleans defense has a pretty good defense. I'm not going to lie. They have a lot of pieces there, especially with Marshawn Lattimore leading the defense, lockdown corner. But they have Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all those tight ends, Leonard Fournette. Dude, he has so many weapons at his disposal. It's going to be hard for them to, cover. I think even they haven't prepared for Leonard Fournette, obviously, because all offseason,
Right.
it's been freaking Ronald Jones that's been the running back one. So, surprise Leonard Fournette might get a few plays here and there that's going to pop off because they weren't ready for it. But yeah, New Orleans should be a good defense throughout the season, but I think week 1, starting against a new offense, especially with Tom Brady leading the way, I don't think it's a good look for the New Orleans defense week 1.
Yeah, no doubt. Since we're on the defense train, we'll keep it going, right? I got Denver as my next sit-em. Denver's defense, again.
And we know why.
Yeah, they lost Von Miller, right? I mean, he's a beast, dude. So there's no way that you can lose an integral piece of your defense like that.
Basically lost the captain of your defense.
Yeah, and in my league, in one of my leagues, I drafted both the Chargers defense and also Denver's defense because I figured pass rush, good DBs, it's rock and roll, right?
Yeah.
But I'm highly considering dropping Denver's defense this week simply for the loss of Von Miller. It's that big.
Exactly. Yeah, he's such a great player that he makes that much of a difference on the defense.
Big time.
For sure. Moving on to my next sit-em. Is this a hot take? Do you think this is a hot take? You see my name. You think you gotta give me the hot take alert right now?
Hot take alert.
Okay. All right. Hot take. I got Aaron Jones against the Minnesota Vikings this week. Aaron Jones was one of the top scoring fantasy running backs last season. This man bursted on the scene. Obviously, Matt LaFleur knows how to use him. Also, that explains why Aaron Rodgers had some down games. But, Arizona. Minnesota has a nasty D line.
Yeah.
And last season, we've seen that they held multiple running backs to low-scoring games. I see them continue success this season. I think Aaron Jones just has a bad week 1 matchup, and I'm going to sit him this week.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. For the start 'em and sit 'em segments, it's all about matchups.
Yeah,
right?
Oh, for sure.
And week 1's a little rough, so if we get a few wrong, you got to leave us some leeway.
That's the main thing that you want to look at.
Is the matchup.
Yeah, exactly, matchup.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing is the matchup, right?
It's a strategy.
Yeah, so we'll see how it kicks off. My next sit-em is AJ Green. And it's a little biased, right?
Yeah.
Again, they're playing the Chargers this week. They got a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
They got Joey Bosa, right? That defense is stellar. They picked up Linval Joseph from the Vikings last year, and then they also picked up Chris Harris Jr. from the Broncos. So, again, that Chargers defense is stacked. I'm sitting AJ Green this week.
Yeah, even with the departure of Derwin James, I don't think the Chargers lose a beat. They just have a lot of key pieces in the right places there.
Absolutely.
They're in our division too, so that's gonna be,
It's gonna be rough, man. But I hope that they added enough talent.
Exactly. Moving on to my sit-em, I'm going Kyler Murray against the San Francisco 49ers.
That's a nice one, man. I mean,
Kyler Murray he did good fantasy-wise last season. I'm not happy he won Rookie of the Year, of course. We wanted Josh Jacobs to win.
of course,
Got
robbed.
Exactly. Straight
Robbed.
I'm also sad I didn't draft Josh Jacobs this year, too, in fantasy.
Neither of us got him, so
Broke my heart.
But I did get Darren Waller
Okay.
in one,
Upside.
and then
He
also
slipped a lot later, too, by the way. He did.
know,
Yeah.
I
That
know.
was good value. For a top 3 tight end.
top 3 tight end in my book, for sure.
Sorry, sidetrack. We got
Sidetracked.
got sidetracked there. But yeah, Kyler Murray facing the San Francisco defense. Didn't lose any pieces this offseason. They're going to be rocking and rolling. They lost their defensive tackle. They replaced him at the draft. They're going to be rocking and rolling. I think anyone you put in that defensive tackle position with the 2 edge pieces that they have on the end, he's going to come in and, not have, you could just produce at that spot. Not worried about it. San Francisco defense, they create turnovers. And sacks,
I'm gonna take the road on that one, man. I mean, he got D-Hop. He got D-Hop now.
He is quarterback proof. I said so.
Yeah, he got D-Hop, so we'll see.
But,
mean,
you know,
all
can
respect.
you throw when you have pressure on you? When you have Nick Bosa and what's
He's
boy,
like a Russell Wilson, bro.
what's the boy from over there that they got from Tampa Bay?
Who for Tampa? I mean, for the Cardinals,
Nah, from San Francisco. What they got from Tampa Bay?
the linebacker.
Yeah, the linebacker.
I know who you're
What's his
talking
name?
about, but
They got nice edge rushers. We'll just leave
they
it
got
there.
nice edge rushers.
We forget names sometimes, but we know what we're talking about. We're not talking out of our ass.
For
all right?
real.
We know. We just forget names. There's a lot of people to keep track
Hey,
of.
it'll come back.
They'll come back. What the fuck was that name?
It's not Levante David.
No.
Nah, he's still with Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
You know who we're talking about. You can name
you
him
know
probably.
who we're talking about. Yeah, for real.
It just slips our minds sometimes. We got to keep track of so many people, and you know,
Yeah.
we do this every day, so we have to research for you guys, so you guys can watch our videos and shit.
Exactly,
So it's just a lot to keep track of. But
Yeah, you know how rappers freestyle sometimes? We freestyle on the podcast sometimes. You know what I mean, Vic? Exactly. So, for my last sit-em, I got J.K. Dobbins, right?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the reason why. It's kind of...
Hold on. Wasn't that your sleeper? What was
That was my sleeper. It was. But the biggest thing is that for me, J.K. Dobbins is a wait and see type deal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
We talked about this. We're looking for
Right.
a Mark Ingram.
I want to
decline.
see, yeah, exactly. I want to see how many touches Mark Ingram's going to get in week 1, right, against Cleveland. And then I also want to compare it to how much run J.K. Dobbins gets. Because I don't know if you guys watch much of college football at all, but J.K. Dobbins was a dog, man, a real dog. I'm real high on a lot of the running backs out this year. DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins. Then there's a few that I'm not so high on, you know, so that's my last one, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, for sure. With the signing of J.K. Dobbins, I think Mark Ingram has this year and maybe next year at most. But, you know, this year we could see the emergence of J.K. Dobbins, and they're like, deuces, you know?
Right.
Going on to my last sit-em, I have Austin Hooper. And you could talk shit about me because I just talked shit about you on your last pick because I had him in my top 10 tight ends.
Hey, I've told you before plenty times, Vic.
Oh, the Browns. Yeah,
The Browns is where careers go to die.
that's true. That's
And
true.
that's just the honest truth. I mean, history repeats itself, and I think it's going to repeat itself again. Simple as
Exactly.
that.
Facing the Baltimore defense, and they were number 1 against tight ends last season. So although Austin Hooper, we know that he produced in Atlanta last season, and they figured out the freaking tight end key over there. Baltimore, Cleveland, new offense, new head coach, new system. If he's smart, makes him a priority. If he doesn't, you know. But even though this week he's fucked.
Yeah.
So let's send him this week for
I
sure.
mean, the thing that's rough for me, too, is that there's so much talent on that offense, man. I mean,
They just don't
there's
know how
only
to-
one football to go around.
Yeah.
There's OBJ, there's Jarvis Landry, there's Nick Chubb. So, I mean, how many balls are left for Austin Hooper?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
That's true. Maybe like the fourth option.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
And you got Kareem Hunt too. You can't forget Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
Great,
exactly.
Great pass catching back.
I mean, they're stacked. So,
Mm-hmm.
it all depends on the quarterback. If the quarterback, Baker Mayfield, can step up in, his third season now?
He has to do something this season.
He has to.
Yes.
Otherwise, he's going to be a bust.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
You know, he showed glimpses his first season. Second season fell on his ass. I think that's the coach's fault, though.
Right.
Not gonna blame him. See what he does third season with a new head coach. All right, everybody. That concludes our startup sit-em and our top 5 busts of this season. We have a little preview of what's going on next week, and Mariano will touch on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So next week we have we're gonna kind of touch in depth about our own personal teams and our draft strategy that we went through this year, right?
Yeah.
So I think you guys are gonna like it. We'll see. We'll see if it pans out. That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah.
If I'm wrong or Vic's wrong, we'll be the first to say that we were wrong. Right?
Take accountability on this channel.
Yeah,
for sure.
exactly. So we'll see. We'll see how it pans out, but I think you guys are gonna like it to see what our own personal strategies were.
I think the most interesting part is going to be us critiquing each other's teams, and you're going to be like, "The fuck were you doing there?"
Right.
But that's going to be it's going to be fun for sure.
Yeah.
So definitely tune into next week's episode. It's going to be a good one, and quick little episode this week, but we got important information covered for sure for those lineups coming up on Thursday, which is a couple days away. You got to be ready. That's the whole thing. You got to know everything, ins and outs. And, if you're caught lacking on game day, then you might have a starter that's in the lineup and you might fuck yourself. So that's what we're here for.
Exactly.
Glad to be back once again. And that's it for our week 1, stardom, sit-em, and information.
Episode 2. So
Episode
signing off.
2.
Mariano, Mari Mars, whatever the fuck you want to call him. Huh.
You know what I'm saying?
Later, man.
Thank you guys.